Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. These are my top 10 favorite luxury face products. Welcome to everyone watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I'm going to be kicking off a luxury makeup week here on the channel. So every single video that goes live this week is all with luxury makeup brands. When it comes to a luxury makeup brand, I feel different people have different ways of dubbing those. So if I sound like a broken record here in so many other videos, because I'm going to repeat it in every video, I do apologize, but I do want to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from. For me, a luxury makeup brand isn't just about price point. Of course, price plays a role, but I also feel the experience of either buying or using the product is what goes into these products for me as well to dub them as luxury. I know a lot of indie brands nowadays have pretty expensive products, or other brands have gotten more expensive over time, but in my brain, these all fit sort of like the prestige luxury makeup realm. There are new brands that have come out that are super expensive that I feel like, are they gonna be worth it? So I'm gonna stick to these. I went through my entire collection, and today we're doing face, we're gonna do cheeks, we're gonna do lips, we're gonna do eyes, we're gonna talk about all the luxury makeup. And I feel that this is the right time of year to be talking about it, because come like November time, we're going to get a lot of beauty sales, especially like around Black Friday. And I always feel that some of the best deals are on high-end brands, because very often the only time in the year where they have sales is this time of year. So that's why I thought it could be good for me to be chatting about them right now. These are just the things that I have in my personal makeup collection. Let me know in a comment down below if you have any recommendations. And today we're going to be talking about face. So with face, I mean anything that's sort of like a base product. So primer, concealer, foundation, setting sprays, those kind of things, powders. But here's the thing. When it comes to luxury makeup brands, I really only have those in two categories: foundations and concealers. I don't have any recommendations in terms of primer. I don't have any recommendations in terms of powder or in terms of setting spray. Those I all like from the drugstore. So no luxury makeup brands that I feel worth it in those categories. So let me just chat about foundation and concealer with you. And also here, I actually have more concealers than I do have foundations. Oh well. A couple of weeks ago, I shared with you some of my favorite Dior products, and this was one of the things that made it into the top 5. This is the Dior Backstage foundation. I have mine in 0N, and it's been a really good foundation for me. It's sort of like the foundation I like to reach for if I don't know what will work that day. I know this is foolproof. I've taken this traveling with me, which goes to show you how much I like this, because when I travel, I want something that's very fat-free, but that's still gonna last all day and that doesn't accentuate any dry patches, and this is great. Comes in a plastic tube as well, comes with 50 milliliters of product, which is almost twice as much as a standard foundation. So yes, this is expensive, but I do feel you get a lot of bang for your buck. The shade range is decent, so it works really well for my dry skin. All across the board, this is just a great thing. If you want to see swatches of all of the products that I'm talking about in this video today, there will be links in the description box down below. With these, I feel like a swatch on the back of your hand doesn't give you the information you need to see what the product can do. So I do have blog post reviews with all of these. You can see a swatch, you can see what it looks like on the skin, what kind of coverage it has, and what the shade match is like in my neck. So those are all things I think that are far more valuable that I can show you if I were to swatch these really quickly in these videos. So make sure you go to the description box down below and click through to those reviews. But yeah, Dior foundation, lovely product. These two are like a 2-for-1 because I always show them together in videos, but it's my YSL foundations. It's the Touche Éclat and the All Hours. These have been reformulated ever since I bought mine. Both of mine are in BR20. This is the same shade of foundation. Make it make sense. But they are the same shade of foundation. It's just that this one dries down a little bit deeper, and this one actually, when you blend it out, looks lighter on my skin. These are really good matches for me. The Touche Éclat is a little bit like dewier and a little bit more for every day. But the All Hours is my only true long wear, can withstand a hailstorm kind of foundation. I wear these very often if I have to go to dance parties and I know I need my makeup to last all night and I don't want it to crease. this is what I reach for. I don't have a lot of use for a very long wearing foundation because I don't mind it if my makeup creases a bit throughout the day. Like, I'm human, I smile, I teach, my face moves a lot throughout the day. So my makeup is not going to look perfect. So that's why these kind of things I feel are more heavy duty than the things I look for in my day-to-day life. But I like having them on hand as long as these don't expire, they'll have a place in my makeup collection as that go-to long-wearing, truly bulletproof foundation that I just know is going to stand the test of time. Like, these are the kind of foundations, I don't recommend you do this, but especially the all hours, if you were to sleep in it, it will not transfer onto your pillow and your makeup will still be on the next day. I don't know what's in these things. They're insane. That's why I don't wear them too often, because I do feel like it's a little bit much for my skin. I just like something a little bit more lightweight and dewy that's more skincare-like, but at least I have something that's like the hardcore stuff, you know? A really beautiful foundation that is currently in my Shop My Stash because I'm trying to use it up this year. I don't think it will happen because it's about halfway gone. I've shaken it up to take it upstairs, so you can't really tell, but it usually just sits on my vanity and I can see it going down. It is one of those foundations though that's actually further down than what you can see in the tube because the product doesn't slide down the sides of the bottle as quickly as the level of the product going down. So I think I'm about like halfway through these letters, so that's why I don't think I'll be able to use it up this year, which it doesn't make me super angry or anything like that because this is beautiful and it's so expensive. But it's also one of the oldest foundations in my collection, so it needs to go, I think, at the end of this year. But this is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in shade 3. Really beautiful. It's a little bit yellow for me sometimes. That's another reason why I'm trying to like phase it out a little bit, because I just prefer something that has a more pinky undertone now that I know what truly works for me, and having so many more foundations in my life that are a much better match for me. So even though this looks beautiful on my skin, it's just a touch too yellow. So that's another reason why I'm like, it needs to go. Beautiful formula as well. I feel like in terms of like the Dior or the Giorgio Armani has the better formula even over the Dior. There's just something about this where I really feel like I've not tried anything else in terms of what it looks like on my skin, the way it blends, the way it sits, the way it feels. It's like, you know how people say that foundations feel like skin? If you want something truly skin-like, and I'm not sure if this has been reformulated since I've bought mine, because that's always an issue. But this one is just an overall beautiful foundation. It's one where I'm really like, maybe I should try a different shade in the future. You know what I mean? But I know I don't need it because I have like 50 foundations already. I'll never be able to use it all up. And by now there are so many other things that have come out that I may want to try. So I don't need a backup of this, but I would want to. Like, I would want to try a different shade to see if it works better. Yeah, it's a pretty even split when it comes to foundations, I find. But yeah, my Lisa Eldridge foundation, this is the Seamless Skin Foundation in shade 5. So this is one of those shades that work so much better for me. It's just a really beautiful shade. I did have to go through a learning curve to know how to make this work for my skin, because I found that just pumping it on the back of your hand or pumping it on your face and then using a brush to apply it made this look horrible. It also took me a long time to figure out what shade I was in this. Like, I had to go to a store to be like tested to know that I was shade 5. I got some of the foundation samples in myself, but I couldn't really figure it out. So that's why I did go to London, and they had a pop-up then, but now they do have a store inside Selfridges. So, and I think they're also inside of Liberty. There's like a couple of department stores in London that carry the brand now, so it makes it a lot easier to test out. But this is beautiful. The way I like to use this and the way I now apply all my foundations, because I have found that it works for everything I use, is that I pump it out on the back of my hand, pick it up with my finger. You could use a spatula if you have those as well. I know that that's a technique that a lot of Asian makeup artists tend to use, but I just like spread an even layer across my entire face I just essentially do a full face with fingers first, and then I use a brush to tap it in. It makes this look beautiful. It makes every single foundation I have look better on my skin. It looks more even, it's easier to blend, and overall it also makes my foundation just last a lot longer because the layer I'm applying is a lot thinner and a lot more even already going on than with just the brush or a sponge. So, pro tip. And then finally, I'm not sure if this is still around. This sort of comes and goes, but the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation. I've tried so much foundation, or I've tried so much Charlotte Tilbury over the years. I've tried the entire brand, everything they do, primers, setting sprays, concealers, whatever. But there's so much in the brand, especially in terms of color makeup, that's just far too warm toned for me. Even in the complexion ranges. Like, they do this beautiful foundation and it comes in 40 shades and I cannot find a shade match because they don't do a pinky tone foundation under like shade 5. And then I'm like, why? Everything turns peach or yellow on me, but not this. The Light Wonder Foundation is a very thin, dewy foundation, yet super long wearing. Super long wearing. I remember when I was testing this out, I actually wore this all day to work, then wore it to a sweaty workout class, and it was still on. Don't ask me how, but it was still on. For a formula this lightweight and dewy, it's truly unique in that sense, and that's why I'm really sad to like see this come and go. Sometimes it's on the website, sometimes it's not. I have mine in shade 2 Fair, and it's beautiful on me. Those were the foundations. Now I have concealers to be sharing with you, and we do see some similar-ish shade like brands here, but also some new things that aren't in the foundations. My Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. I do really like this, but I had to, again, buy a weird shade. This is shade 4 Fair, but it works. It works really well, and I feel it's sort of like really nice between like being a higher coverage concealer, but it's still being very dewy and sort of non-drying. I'm always looking for concealers that don't have full coverage because they're far too matte heavy for my liking, especially here. I've got fine lines, I've got a couple of wrinkles. Around my nose is where I like to apply a little bit of concealer, which is super dry, especially in the fall winter season. So this has been a really good concealer for me for that reason. YSL, this is the All Hours concealer that they launched a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, I think by now, I was really on the hunt for like finding my next favorite concealer. This is one of the things I purchased for that sort of video to do. And it's a little bit yellow. I really struggled finding my shade in this line. I ended up going for LC1. And it's still a little too yellow. But with concealer, I don't always mind it because I'm only applying it in targeted areas, and I'm actually using it to cover up my redness. And yellow and red are really good at sort of canceling each other out. So that's why I do like that one a lot. Again, super long wearing, perhaps a little bit too much of a workhorse makeup-wise, like the YSL All Hours foundation. A little bit too... not heavy, it's not a heavy concealer at all, but I just want something a little bit more like thin and skin-like, and I feel like the YSL All Hours range is really good. Again, bulletproof makeup. If that's what you're looking for, the YSL All Hours range is where it's at. And then 3 brands that we haven't seen in this video yet. Estee Lauder. This is the Futurist Soft Touch Brightening Skin Sealer in shade 1C. I had to go abroad to find this, people, because this shade, not sold in my country. And so many luxurious makeup brands do this, actually. So many brands will say they have certain shades, and then I go look online at stores that I can easily get them from. The shade doesn't exist. The shade doesn't exist, and then I go to France or I go to England and yay, shade. So that's how I ended up buying this. The Futurist, what was it called? I had the matching foundation to this. I used it up last year because it was an older one and it was beautiful. So Estee Lauder does some really good base products. So it's sort of like a placeholder for that as well. And this is lovely. It's a little bit lighter. Like if you compare this to the YSL, like look at how yellow that is. this is what I want. So come wintertime, the Estee Lauder is going to be chef's kiss. Another concealer I really enjoyed was my Gucci concealer. This is just called the concealer or whatever. This was, again, shade range wise, so difficult to determine. I ended up going for 17W. How is this a warm concealer shade? This is another thing that always confuses me. Some brands call pinky tones, because I think it has red in them, warm. And that's what's happening here. I swatched so many different shades on the back of my hand trying to find what shade I was, and this is the thing I settled on. It was a thing that was light enough for me and it was closest to my skin tone, so that's why I ended up going for that. And that's another thing with concealer. I don't want them to be lighter than my foundation anymore. In fact, I sometimes prefer them to be a touch darker, because then they are better at covering up redness and dark circles than when they're super light. So that's another tip. And I mainly, like, this is the area where concealer goes mainly, and a little bit here. That's where the concealer goes. It doesn't go here, doesn't go down my neck. I blend it in with my foundation, so that's why I don't want things that are super light on me. I don't like that look. And then finally, and you can, this is like, you can see, like, I've used this. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer in shade R2. Another confusing shade range that I had to find in store. Like, I love that brands are doing these more inclusive shade ranges with like 50 shades of concealer and foundation. But unless you have access to them in store, it can be a nightmare to figure out what shade you are. So I always wait until I have that opportunity, which is what I did with this shade, this one as well. Love this thing to pieces, really nice, dewy, great formula, long wearing. Like, all of these concealers are pretty much created equal in my book. Like, I can go back and forth between all 5 of these and love them. So there really isn't that much of a difference, I feel, between them. And to be quite fair, I love my drugstore concealers as well. Like, you don't have to go this expensive to find a good concealer, I find. Foundation, I'm a little pickier. Especially because of shade ranges. That's why I'm pickier when it comes to those things. A lot of cheaper shade, like, foundations just don't come in my shade. So there's that. So those are the top 10 favorite luxury foundations and concealers I wanted to share with you. Let me know in a comment down below what your favorites are, because I would love to know. And stay tuned, because I will be doing loads more videos this week. We're going to do cheeks, we're going to do lips, I'm going to do eyes. I have loads of luxury makeup content to come your way very, very soon. So please join the channel if that's something you're interested in. And of course, I do make 4 videos a week over on this channel, once a week on my other channel. And then of course, there's a blog as well, like, in existence somewhere. And if you want to see what I'm doing coloring book wise, then check out my TikTok, because that's where I've been putting that. You can find me wherever you want. So thanks so much for joining me here today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it, subscribe, and I hope to see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.